Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I am delighted to welcome Emilia Rose to PublishDrive's Author Hour. Emilia is a USA Today bestselling romance author, and she's also the founder and CEO of Ream, a publishing platform built specifically for authors. Ream gives writers tools to publish and sell stories, offer subscriptions, serialize fiction, and create communities around their work. And they also have just announced some even new cool features. So I'm really excited to talk to her about that today. And Emilia brings a particularly valuable perspective to our conversation because she hasn't just built a platform for authors. She's also created a successful reader author business herself. And as a PublishDrive customer, she understands how subscriptions and direct reader relationships can work alongside wide distribution as a part of a larger, more sustainable publishing strategy. So, Emilia, welcome.
Yeah,
and we're so happy to have you here. So tell us, I gave you obviously the high level introduction about you. So tell us a little more about yourself and about Ream and what you do.
Yeah, so like she said, I am a romance author, write very spicy romance, pretty much about bad boys and good girls. And I've been writing for the past, I want to say almost like a decade now, publishing for the past like 7-ish years. And I started on Wattpad when that was a thing way back when. And I kind of started growing a fan base through there before I monetized at all. And it was a very interesting experience, and it shaped a lot of how I approach storytelling now and how we are building Ream. We build it with a lot of reader engagement tools and ways to help build a community around your readers as an author. And so we're constantly building the platform and building the software to help you as authors create that community, and not only create the community, but curate it and kind of nurture it throughout your entire author career. Yeah. That's what we're currently doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that because I think that there are so many tools out there that people have this bright idea of, oh, I think authors would like this, but they're not authors. And they don't understand how authors and readers work. And so I love that you really are taking into account what readers are looking for and how to connect with readers.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about your experience in connecting with readers and advice for other authors on how they can better connect with their readers.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love doing is I release my books both serially, and then also like I package them up and sell them as like completed books. But as I'm releasing serially, which is chapter by chapter, at the end of every chapter, I'll write an author's note. And an author's note is basically kind of like breaking the fourth wall. And it's me as the author coming in and being like, I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. And then I'll ask them specific questions about the chapter itself or about where they think it's going, and basically ask them to engage with the content that I just wrote or I'm going to write for the next chapter drop or episode drop. And that is probably the biggest and strongest way that I've personally seen readers connect with my content, and then with also other content on the platform as well. Readers love, everyone loves sharing their opinion on things. Mm-hmm. And so when you give them a chance and you ask them directly, like, what do you think of this? What do you think is going to happen? They love to be able to participate in that community. And what we've seen is sometimes when authors start doing author notes, either at the end of every chapter or at the end of every book, it might take a little bit of time for readers to feel comfortable to feel comfortable enough to comment. But once they start commenting back to you, they'll also start commenting to each other. And when they start commenting to each other, that kind of is building your community for you. And you don't have to be so much in their face all the time, because they have relationships with each other. And it's a very interesting experience to be able to see friendships form within your community and kind of see like the back and forth of commenting and just the creation of relationships based off of your stories. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And, back in the day, I worked for Harlequin and they had online reads. I mean, this was like years. I
Oh,
mean, they've been doing it for years and
yeah.
years. And that was something that, for a long time, we had online forums that
Yeah.
were around those online reads. So very similar to what you're doing at Ream.
Yeah.
And, it was just so cool because I think that I met a lot of people, and you're right. I became friends with a ton of those people just over the years because you do form those bonds or something really special about as a reader connecting with another reader over shared love of books.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting because a lot of times when, we're writing, we put like real world experiences in our content. And a lot of the times readers might relate to something very, very specific that a character does or how they react to something and or their trauma, whatever it is. And so having readers not only like connect over how much they love the story, but connect based off of things that they've experienced and that they relate to is very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. It really is. And so as you're reading the reader comments or anything, does that inform what you're going to write next or how you're
Yeah,
choosing to go forward?
yeah. So currently, or what I've been doing for the past time that I've been writing, so years now, is I don't plot at all. So me personally, I write as I go. And so I will release my chapter on Ream and see what readers say. And in like based off of their comments, I will create the next chapter. So, for example, if I leave it off on a huge cliffhanger and I ask them like, what do you think is going to happen next? And they all guess what's going to happen next. I change it a little bit so some of them are like, oh yeah, like I guess this, but also you want a little bit of surprise. You want to keep them hooked. And
Mm.
so if they're all guessing what's going to happen next, I want to spice it up a little bit and change it up so it keeps them hooked and keeps them reading and keeps them guessing over and over and over again. And so I use a lot of my reader comments to inform the decisions of how I create the next chapter or the next part of the book. And then also, we just launched being able to see where people are dropping off within a chapter. So I am also using like those specific analytics to see, hey, people are dropping off at like this first half of the chapter. Like, how can I fix this chapter or the next chapters moving forward so there's not that drop in readership? And how can I continue to bring those readers from one chapter to the next to the next? So,
Yeah, I think that's really excellent because so many authors are like, okay, why did people stop reading my book? What do the beta
yeah,
readers think? And for you, this is not just real time beta reading, but it's actual analytics of
yeah,
where they're dropping off and what that response is. So that's really great for authors to have that feedback
yeah.
of, okay, what is happening here? Where am I losing my readers?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. And I think it's a very powerful tool because there's not, sorry, my cat is, um, there's like a lot of times all you can tell, especially on retailers, all you can tell is if somebody bought your book. If somebody bought your book, if somebody bought the second book in series, you can say, hey, like this many people went from book one to book two. But you can't know how many people started book one. You can't know like how many people got through the first chapter, how many people got through the fifth chapter, how many people finished the book. It's really hard to tell. And with these analytics, you can tell exactly like by paragraph where they're stopping and help you fix your book, or if you don't even have to fix it if you don't want to, but it helps you kind of inform your like decision making process on where like what parts might need a little bit of help.
Yeah, which is really great because again, we don't often get that kind of feedback. We're just making assumptions based on what we
Yeah.
notice. And so you have that direct feedback. So I have to ask because you're like, okay, I do it and then I write the next chapter. Are you just a really fast writer or how often do you have between your chapters that you release?
Yeah, so I write very short chapters. My chapters are like 1,000 words long. I write a chapter pretty much every weekday. I'm working on 2 different books though. So Monday and Wednesday, I'll write book 1. And then Tuesday and Thursday, I'll write book 2. And then Friday, I write like a very short story. It's like a very short, spicy story. And it really helps for me. It helps keep me interested in all of my books. Cause I know if I just wrote one chapter Monday through Friday of the same book, I'd get really bored. But yeah, the chapters are short. They're about 1,000 words long, and it's just enough to keep my readers coming back and hooked, and keep me hooked.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's really an important point. Is you don't want just the readers to be hooked. You want to be hooked as well. So that's a really great point, and I really just find it interesting to hear about the different processes and how people are using the different processes to work for what works for them. So you know that about yourself as a writer. You know that, okay, I need to stay interested in the story, and this is how I've structured my writing so that I can do that. So I really appreciate that, because I think hopefully people watching and listening are going to be able to look at this and be like, oh, hey, that's how I do it too. I'm not so weird. Or, oh, yeah, this is a way maybe I could try. So
I think it also, like, for me, it also helps keep me on like a schedule. So like, I knew if I had just a book due and nobody was waiting for any chapters, but I just had to write an entire book by February, I would wait until January to start writing that book. And this way I have readers waiting for a chapter pretty much every single day. So I'm like, force myself to get out there, write a chapter, write 1,000 words, get it done. And the book is much more manageable to write because of that schedule for me.
Yeah. And so as you're doing the schedule, like, what do you do for vacations and stuff?
Yeah. So usually some people like to like preload the content, so write it ahead. Usually I just tell my readers, like, hey, I'm taking a week off. I need the week off. And I'll do that like 4-ish times a year. And they're completely fine with it. They completely understand, because I'm very consistent otherwise. And I'll tell them ahead of time, like, hey, I need this time off. And they're usually pretty good about it.
Nice. So let's talk discoverability. How do readers discover you and your work?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. A lot of the business I've built has been built around serial fiction. So I started, like I said, on Wattpad, but I use serial fiction and serial fiction websites for discovery a lot. And I'll have readers discover me and my writing on that platform and funnel them over to monetize them on Ream, basically. But I'm a wide author, so I distribute everywhere. And I use PublishDrive to distribute to some of these serial websites. So I think Dream.
Yeah. I know we have this debate. And I've never met any of the reps. They actually are based out of Singapore. And and so we have that internal discussion. Is it Dream? Is it Dreamy? If anybody actually knows the correct answer, I would love to know, because you're right. Like, what is it?
I have no idea. But yeah, we distribute to them. Basically, I don't like to be like in just only on Amazon. I think for my specific business, it's not I don't trust Amazon enough to be able to just distribute there. So I really like to cast a wide net and grab as many readers in many different areas as possible. So
yeah. And how do you do that marketing to that wide audience? Because I know that seems to be the biggest challenge for wide authors, is so many people say, oh, but I make more money when I'm just at Amazon. And I know your experience has been very different. So I would love to hear how you've been able to make wide work for you.
Yeah. So a lot of it has been creating a strong subscription. And that is through, like, I will publish serially for free on like the serial websites and funnel the readers into my subscription on Ream. And because I have a subscription where people are paying monthly for my content, I don't it makes me feel a lot more safe to be able to distribute everywhere and not just have to like focus solely on one store. So that is like the base of my business. But for why, just in general, like for like one-time sales or just like direct sales even, there's a few things that I do. So I try to keep, or if I'm releasing a free book, I have a way for people to get on my newsletter list. I think that is like the most important thing, is to be able to contact your readers in some way. So that could be like a freebie, that could be like spicy art or spicy audio if you're like a romance author, something to get people on your email list and so you can connect with them directly. We've also done some social media, though for me, it's not as strong as a direct reader to author relationship, where I have like their emails or I have a way to contact them outside of social media. Yeah, I think those are the main ways. We also do some cross promotion with other authors. So other authors who are wide will reach out to them and ask like, hey, do you want to do a cross promo, whether that's directly on Ream or on social media, to kind of build that audience too.
Yeah. And that's really important. With Ream, you have a lot of those tools built in. Could you talk about some of that?
Yeah. So we launched a bunch of marketing and promotion tools for authors, especially recently. So one of the things we can do is author swaps directly on Ream. You can find another author who's publishing on the website and ask them to do an author swap with you. And you pick your book, they pick their book. And for that specific time period, it might be like a week or however long you want it to go on for, that book will show up as like a recommended book on your author page. So you don't really have to do much. You could copy your link and put it on your newsletter, but it's pretty much done for you. We also have free book blasts, which are, we call them Ream raids. It's basically where a bunch of authors on the platform come together. I think it's like 5 or 6 times a year, and they have a free book, they put it on, or they apply to be in the blast, and everyone will share their link during that period of time. And yeah, that's like a way to grab new readers from a whole bunch of authors.
Yeah. And so is this just for like their books on Ream, or is it their books that they can purchase elsewhere? How does that work?
So for Ream raids specifically, it's just books on Ream. So if you want to take part in it, you'll have to upload a book. You can upload your book for free. You can set your book to paid. We have single sales now, so readers can purchase directly from you once the raid is over, if they're still interested and want to continue reading more of your content. Or you can set up a subscription. So for Ream raids and for author swaps, they're books directly on Ream.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So you kind of slipped this in. So I want you to give a little more attention to this new feature that you've developed on Ream for people to purchase direct from you.
Yeah. So
the author, I should say.
Yeah, we're so excited. We've been working on this feature for about like a year now, and we just released it in late September, late July, early August. It's basically authors can sell one-time purchases or just books on the website. So originally we were just a subscription platform where authors set up a subscription and readers pay monthly, but now you could sell your ebooks and audiobooks directly on the site, and readers can read and they can save the books to their library and download them and have them basically forever.
Nice. And is this just ebooks?
So it's ebooks and audiobooks. We will be working on comics soon, and eventually, I don't have a timeline yet, but eventually we'll also be working on print.
Nice. I know. Isn't that hard? You know what's in development, and you're like, eventually. I don't have a timeline yet.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to tell everyone because I'm so excited, but I don't know when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So, how many readers do you have on Ream?
Right now, we have about 150,000 readers and about 19,000 authors.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Look at you. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And how do readers find Ream?
So we have a few different ways currently. We're working on getting more social media up, but right now, a lot of times authors will bring their readers to Ream, and once readers are in like the Ream ecosystem, they can find books from other authors. We have like a whole discovery section where readers can search by author or by trope, and they can say, hey, I don't want to see these content warnings, and we'll filter those out. And yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So what kind of content warnings or content filters do you have available to would-be readers?
Yeah, so we have like when an author is setting up a book, you can select if the content has a bunch of different like content warnings that could be like maybe it has explicit language, or maybe there's sexual content, or maybe there is violence or war, and you can select those specific things to that basically say like, hey, these are in my book. If you don't want to read them, or maybe you do want to read them and those interest you, you can select or deselect those in your filters, and readers can find them.
Okay, that's great. So I don't know. This may be a spicy question. So, but I know a while back there was a little bit of controversy over AI content on Ream. Do you have anything that you would want to say about where Ream is with that?
Yeah, so we currently don't have like an explicit filter for readers, but what we're working on now is a way for readers to come in and say, I'm not interested in this specific book. Like, so they can come to a like story card, and there's a little section that says, I'm not interested in this book. And if they select that, they can select a reason why they might not be interested. And there's a whole bunch of reasons, but based on what they say, we basically pull the content that they're not interested in seeing out of their, I guess, like discovery or like for you section. So they won't see that content anymore. But if they don't, if they want to continue seeing it, they can.
Okay, yeah. And do authors need to disclose whether or not they're using AI?
So we do have a section when they're setting up their metadata, if basically asking if they use generative AI.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's always good to know. It's just informative. I know some people are yes and some people are no, and so it's really good for people to use their own judgment as far as what and know what the different platform requirements. I know that's one of the things we have on PublishDrive is, we just have a page of the different stores and what their AI requirements are or aren't. So
and we're always like, we make a lot of decisions on Ream based on what the community wants and needs. And so we're always open to having a conversation about that or anything else to see how we can best help our authors and our readers. Yeah,
that's good to know. It's really good information. And so when you're looking at Ream, what does this I learned to talk today. What does the subscription model look like?
So for subscriptions, basically an author can set up their subscription on Ream, and they can set as many different tiers as they want. I think the minimum right now to set your pricing at is $3, I think. I would suggest starting at $5. But basically readers come in and they can purchase or subscribe to that tier, and Ream takes a 10% fee or like a cut, and you basically keep the rest besides payment processing fees.
Yeah. And so what if you wanted to offer your book for free? Is there a way to do that as well?
Yes. Yeah. So you can offer your book completely for free, and readers can start reading it completely for free. So we have two ways they can read for free. One is public. So public is basically the book is completely free, and you don't get any data about your readers. Like you don't get their emails, but you can also set your book to follower only. And so maybe you have the first 3 chapters as public, and you get your readers hooked, or you get readers hooked, and then chapter 4 is followers only. Chapter 4 through the end of the book is followers only. And in order to continue reading, they have to follow you. And when they follow you, you basically they're basically consenting to give you their email. And so it builds your newsletter list by offering that free content to the public and then to followers only. So you can build your list if you want to release free content too.
Yeah. So how does that work with the reader data that you're getting and building your email list from that data?
Yeah. So basically, we collect and anonymize a lot of the data specifically to how people are reading. So if we have data based on how people discover you, so you can see exactly like the exact link people are coming from. So if you have a social media campaign and it's like with Instagram.com/ a bunch of different letters or characters, you can see how many people are coming specifically from that campaign over. And then how many people are reading from free, how many people are reaching a paywall and then paying you, how many people are subscribing from that link, how much time they're actually reading from that link. So that could be like 20 minutes. It could be like 5 minutes. And then you can see like, hey, people who are coming from Instagram are reading for 20 minutes. This is like a really strong, I don't know what you would call it, campaign, I guess, to get people over and reading in my community. Yeah, but can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was just curious how, like, what data the people get and how they can use it, and how they build their email list with all of that.
Yeah. So, okay. So that is basically like discovery analytics that we have. We also have like story by story analytics, like I was talking to you about before. So like paragraph heat maps where people are stopping, and where people are being retained over and over, and where people are subscribing. They might be hitting a paywall and wanting to subscribe. And so with like all these analytics, you can figure out, with like discovery specifically, you can figure out where people are coming from and where people are converting from the best. So if they're converting best from Instagram, you can make your entire marketing campaigns around Instagram and like funnel people over, get them to start reading your strongest book for free. So like with the public chapters and then follower chapters, and find, based on your story analytics, where people are, that you can find where they're stopping, but you can also figure out which chapters are like converting the best. And if you can figure out which chapters are converting the best and where people don't stop reading, you can set either your paywall or your like followers to that chapter. And so when they reach that chapter, they're hooked. And when they're hooked, they're going to want to, follow you and give you their email, and that will help you build your list.
Yeah. And so then once they've given their email, is that something that, let's just say I wanted to put it into my other newsletter program, is that something I can do?
Yeah. So you can download a CSV.
Okay. Nice. That's really handy. So if you were talking to, say, a newer author and they were like, okay, how do I get started and how do I do all this? What would you suggest to them?
I would say set up. So subscriptions are a little not difficult to set up, but they take some time. So I would say start with single sales, set up your books for paid, put a price on them, but also have a first in series free and pull people in with that series or with that specific book. Make sure it's a really strong book and get people from, just public readers to followers, and then followers to paying readers, and then paying readers to hopefully subscribers if you set up your subscription. So
yeah, that's really good to know. And so for someone who wanted to just get started on Ream, so they can just sign up for free today, is that right?
Yeah. All you have to do is go to reamstories.com/create, and you'll be able to set up as an author or as a reader if you want. And yeah, you can just get started. You can see the author dashboard, see which analytics you'll get access to, and set up your stories or ebooks, comics, audio, all of that.
Nice. Are there particular genres that do better than others, or genres that you're like, yeah, you probably don't want to use this genre on Ream, or Ream, the readers can't get enough of this genre?
Yeah, so we're open to all genres. We have like all genres on the platform, but I would say romance is probably the strongest at the moment.
That's good. Good to know. Sorry. And so what are there other countries, like, is it primarily US based, or are there other countries, other languages, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we have multiple languages on Ream. I know I was scrolling and saw a couple French books yesterday, which is pretty cool. So we aren't localized yet. So that means basically like you can read French or Italian or whatever types of languages on Ream, but the platform is all going to be in English. So that's something we'll be working on in the next year or so, is localizing it to specific places so we can grab like a larger audience there and kind of help them self-publish and read. But yeah, we have readers from all over the world. I think last time we checked, it was like 80 something countries, but it was pretty cool. And we have a couple WhatsApp groups for authors there's one in Nigeria, one for South African authors. I think there's another one. I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but yeah, we have a few different places for those people to connect.
That's great. That's great to know that it is something that's worldwide. And that's something I know I definitely appreciate coming from the PublishDrive perspective, is that we do have so many authors and publishers who are coming from all over the world, and people wanting to know how they can get their books noticed beyond the US market, and who can find all those other markets. So it's always great to hear when people are able to find books in other ways.
Yeah. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. And then what are some other things? I just keep sitting here thinking about all the different ways, particularly, I know since you're also a wide author, just it's so interesting. All of the different conversations I keep hearing is, how difficult things are. And I'm wondering, what are some of your best practices or best tips for authors who are trying to find some traction for their books?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I think helped me is actually like connecting with my readers in some way. And talking to them as if I like a lot of times your readers will come in and talk to you like they're your biggest fan or the biggest fan of your stories. If you can talk to them like the same way, like, I'm also a huge fan of my stories, like, let's gossip about these characters, let's gossip about what's happening, that really helps you connect with your readers. And it needs to be genuine. Like, you need to be excited about your stories, and they're excited about your stories, and the genuine connection and just like relationship that you have with them is, like, for me, I think it's the most powerful thing in author business.
Yeah, I really agree. I think that genuine connection is so important to readers, and to, because they really get caught up in your world and in your characters, and they become real to the readers.
Yeah.
So that's a really great tip. So I know, like, you're obviously very much all in on Ream. Do you do any other newsletters besides Ream, or is everything now through Ream?
Pretty much all of like author content is through Ream. I do have like my own newsletter for my books, but that's separate. But yeah, pretty much everything is through Ream.
Yeah. I figured, but I was like, okay, let me just ask just in case, because I know, you guys have put so many different functions into Ream now that for you, other than distributing to other places, you really have created Ream as a platform where you can do everything right there. So that's really handy. And I know you do use PublishDrive for some of your other things. And how is that going for you?
That's going good. I love seeing all like oh, you got royalties email every now and then. And I'm like, yes, it's probably from Dreamy or Dream, whatever it is.
Yeah, I know. It was really funny because I have to admit, before I had you come on, I'm like, okay, well, let me just make sure like things are going good for her. And so I kind of went through and I was like, oh, cool. Our last thing that we just sent to her was, look, you have royalties. So I'm like, she's probably very happy right now.
Yeah. So that's always nice.
Yeah, but I think it is good because, I know that we sat down with you and your assistant, gosh, probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh,
yeah, you were talking about just how you were using PublishDrive. And I know you're like, can we get some more serials? And, I promise we are working on stuff like that. As I mentioned to you, and I can just share with others who are listening, is that PublishDrive would love to get more stores onboarded and things like that. But there's a lot of stuff we're doing in the back end right now. And we're working really hard at improving the customer experience for what we have now. And so we're like trying to streamline everything and get everything all as smooth as possible for what we have now, so that as we onboard other people, other stores, things like that, we can make it even smoother. So, and if we're always looking for people, I know I have on one of my task lists of going out and talking to some of our users and getting some user experience data so that I can take that back to the team. So if anyone watching is like, oh, hey, pick me, please reach out. We would love to get your feedback. Again, just from that user experience of how do we improve things so that everything is even more smooth, and then you can have an even better experience, because I know that's something you're really committed to doing on your platform. And we have that same commitment. So always looking for that additional feedback. But yeah, so I'm really excited about what you're doing. And I know you came to me, you're like, hey, we launched this new thing. What else is there that you want to share with our audience about Ream and what Ream is doing?
Yeah, no, there's so much.
I know. I'm like, that's kind of a big question, but I'm like, okay, I'm going through mentally what I know about what you're doing. And then I'm like, okay, she probably has so much more to share.
Yeah. So I'll just like share a couple big things that we're working on. We're working on but improving discovery a lot. So we're eventually going to roll out rankings for specific tags. So you can click on a tag, maybe it's like one bed, like if they share one bed in a romance book. And you'll be able to see rankings of like the top 100, I think it's going to be, of books that have that trope that are, ranked as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So that is going to be a big addition. We're really excited for it. But we're also, something that I'm personally excited for is we're working on something called Ream Insights. I haven't shared this literally with anyone, so you guys got like the first scoop. And it's basically, we have like anonymized data from readers and authors on the platform, and we are going to be able to tell authors what exactly is working. So based on all the data that we have, like which tropes are working, which tropes are trending, which like if you have if you're a romance author who writes spicy romance, for example, should you write 1,000-word chapters or should you write 3,000-word chapters? We're going to get very granular with the data that we share, so authors can create the best businesses that they can, and they don't have to take all of the data and make it and use it. They can just pick and choose what works for them. But I'm really excited to be able to actually share some of this data and share.
I love that. I think that's really great because, again, I see this question a lot in author groups of, well, how long should my chapter be? And so many authors are like, well, this is how long I make my chapters. This is how, and even as you were saying that, I'm like, well, I kind of have a feel for how long my chapters should be, but that would be really cool to actually have the data for how long the chapters are that my readers relate to the most. And that's really a great feature in terms of authors not having to put so much guesswork into what they're doing.
That's what we want to eliminate, is like the guesswork behind that, basically, and say this is exactly what's working on Ream. These are the platforms that work for horror authors. These are like the platforms that people are coming from. This is how you should. This is how you could market to grab more readers and stuff like that. It based on like actual hard data that we have.
Yeah, I think that's really, really cool that now we have the technology to be able to put that out there and have our decisions based on data. And that's something obviously I've talked a lot about on our different lives and things, is what does the data say in terms of how you're building your publishing business? Because there are so many opinions out there, but the data is really what matters. How has your writing changed? The more of this data that you're getting, are you finding that you're changing different things in your process and what you do?
Very little. I think I'm somebody who, like, as soon as I think something's working, I will double down on it. And if it continues to work, I'll continue to double down. If it doesn't, I'll just pivot and revert back. So what I've been doing lately is, especially with like the heat maps and figuring out where people are dropping off, I'll look at where people are dropping off, and in my like revisions after I wrote the entire book, I'll figure out how to tweak it. Like, I'm not going to change the entire thing, but if I can get like even just 5% more people to continue the story after that point, compared to what they like, how many people were like stopping, I think that is an improvement. Any like percent improvement is a good improvement.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you go with even just a 5% improvement, especially when you're looking at higher numbers, 5% is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so even if you're starting at a small number, okay, 5% here, that adds up. And so that's really important for people to take a look at. Is I think we always look for those big number jumps and we're like, oh, but we need to have this big thing. But if you start with those small jumps add up, and then suddenly those big changes are there and you're like, whoa, we had this.
Yeah, I know. It's always like the little things. They definitely add up.
Yeah, exactly. This has been great. I'm really glad that you were able to come and share with us. And I know a lot of people are probably going to look at this and say, oh, wow, and just get some really good ideas and figure out different ways that they can improve what they're doing. And hopefully take a look at Ream and say, okay, this might be something that works for me. And that would be, like I said, I know that you have done a lot of great things with Ream, and we are quite happy with you at PublishDrive. So, like, we're always, again, just looking for ways that we can help authors build their business, make their businesses better, and grow their business. Because, it is definitely not, I think I said this in another episode where I was talking about, so many people think, oh, I'm just going to make a bunch of money right now, right away. And you just don't. It takes a while to build it. And so I think that's probably similar to what you're seeing with the people on Ream, is that it isn't like you're instantly going to make a huge amount of money, but you can grow over time.
Yeah, it growing a business takes a lot of work. But one of the goals for Ream is just to give you as an author as many tools as possible to help you grow. And so a lot of our like marketing section has been based on what authors have said that they wanted to help grow their Ream or their just readership in general. And so a lot of the features that we build is informed by author opinions.
Yeah. And that's really great, because again, like, as authors, everyone has a lot of experience, and so taking that experience, not just from you as Emilia, the author, but also other authors on your platform, and figuring out what is working for them and how to make that work is really important. And that's why it is important for all authors to figure out what's going to work for their business. And again, taking it back to the data, like, what data do you have on your readers? And also, what data do you need to get? And so I was just talking about how with PublishDrive, we're streamlining things on the back end. And one of the questions we keep coming back to in some of these meetings is, well, what does the data support? And what does the data say about this? And, drilling down into pieces of the process where we have actual data. And if we don't, it's like, okay, what data points do we need? Yeah. And I like that you are saying that you're asking those same questions.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, what is going to help people make a strong author business.
Yeah. Being able, I agree. Being able to like see the data behind your business, even if it's like your specific business and not just like everyone's business altogether, is really important. Like it's really good to have data from a large group of people and be able to see like, this is what's working in my genre or this genre. But it's also really important to see like, this is what's working for me. Like I might be an outlier in these areas, but it's working for me. And I can continue to do it because, my audience is responding well to it. So,
yeah, I think that's such an excellent point. I'm so glad you said that, is that, I always look at it is, okay, what does the data look like for me in my genre? And you and I write very different things. So I can't look necessarily at your business and say, ooh, I'm going to copy everything she does and expect success. However, I also have to look at what works for me, because even though other people in my genre may have success doing something one way, if I'm finding success a different way, I want to make sure that I lean into that. And it goes back to what you said earlier in this conversation, where you said, I find what works and then I double down on it. And that, to me, is really how you're going to grow a successful author business.
Yeah, I agree. And also pivoting quickly. So like if something isn't working for you, like you can give it some time, but also like you can also pivot somewhere else and try something else.
Yeah. Very, very good point. Is, again, and I think we live in this tech society where you can pivot quickly. I just talked in a previous episode about my background in trad and how, it took me 12 years to sell my first book, but back then that was the only way to do it.
Yeah.
And now as an author, you can say, okay, I wrote this book. I don't like how it performed. Cool. Let me pivot. Let me change this. Let me do this. And if you're doing something on Ream, you have the actual reader data that says, okay, this is where you need to pivot. So I think that we live in a very exciting time, but you definitely have to put that analytical hat on and take advantage of that. Yeah. So any final thoughts before we close out for the day?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm just so excited to be able to chat with you and share a little bit about what we've been working on and what we're going to be working on soon.
Yeah. I was excited that you were able to do this with us. And as I mentioned in the opening, and I will keep mentioning for those of you who are just now chiming in, we do have the Foundations for Publishing Success online conference that's happening here on YouTube on September 8th and 9th. And you can also register. I'm going to post the link. If you want to register at the link, you can go there and sign up for information. The conference is 100% free. So you don't have to pay. If you sign up with your email address, it's just going to be to send you information on the conference. No other obligation. We really wanted to give back to the writing community and just say, hey, we get it. It's as I have said previously, on one hand, it's never been easier to build a publishing business, but it's also never been more difficult. And so we want to help you get past some of those difficulties so that you can have easy mode. And also, this one is online. We're going to do another online conference in the spring. So for those of you who are like, hey, I actually want to share something at the conference, great. Let me know. I will take all of the learnings and data from this thing and apply it to what we do in the spring. And then also, I am putting together interest in a in-person writing mastermind in Budapest next summer. So June 2027. And if you go to the link that I shared and you scroll down, towards the bottom of that page, there's an interest form. It doesn't obligate anyone to anything. It's just me seeing what interest there is, because even though I have this crazy idea and the friends that I've run it past have been like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. It's like, okay, well, do people really want it? Or is it just my friends saying, hey, yeah, Danica, that's super cool. So all of those things are coming up, and a lot of excitement. And also, I don't have the link yet, but for those of you who like our customer service webinars, we will be having another one on Monday. So our customer support team once a month has a webinar that they share insights from our customer support and ways, again, that you can be more successful, that is very platform specific to PublishDrive. So also be on the lookout for that. And as soon as I have that link, I will post that in the notes as well. So everyone, I hope you have a really great day. We will talk to you all soon, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.